I'm surprised none of these folks. Oop.
In that chair.
Is that better? Is that better, Commissioner Cooper? Good. Welcome, everyone. Ooh, is that too loud? Kind of loud. How's that? Better? We now have quorum, and we'll begin the meeting of the Oklahoma City Arts Commission for April 21st, 2025. Before the commission votes on each item, I will ask staff to provide details on each case. I will ask if the applicant has anything to add, and I will ask if any members of the public wish to speak. But not seeing any members of the public, I'm not going to read the next paragraph. Our next item is to receive the meeting minutes from February 17th, regularly scheduled meeting. Could I ask for a motion? I'll move. A second? Will you second me? Okay. Okay, good. So if everyone will go ahead and vote?
Nothing's coming up.
No?
Nope, nothing's coming up.
You may have to take a
I'll
couple
vote
of.
yes.
Thank you. Is everybody's vote in then?
Oh, I'm voting yes. Yeah, same here, nothing's popped up.
Okay, the vote is passed. Thank you. We'll move on to item number 3, 3A. The Community Mesh by Jonathan Hills. It's a sculpture to be located in the Linwood Boulevard median near North Kentucky Avenue. Strong Neighborhoods Initiative for Metro Park Neighborhood Ward 6. And I'll ask Robbie if she'll join us to present the item, please.
Oh, good afternoon. I'm Robbie Jones, Special Projects Manager in Arts and Cultural Affairs. Thank you for attending today. Let me start with just giving you a little bit of background on the first two items that are on the agenda. In October of 2024, Strong Neighborhoods Initiative, or SNI, released a call to artists for public art in the Metro Park neighborhood. The budget was set at $24,000 for the commission of 2 sculptures to be placed in the median along Linwood Boulevard. The selection committee selected 2 different artists, and the value of each work is $12,000. And I'm going to go through each of those 2 that were selected. The first, The first one is called Community Mesh by artist Jonathan Hills. He was selected to go in the median near North Kentucky Avenue. The sculpture is 8 feet tall by 3 feet wide at its center, and it's created with welded and powder-coated steel. It uses geometry and a structural linear design in an open framework to create a unique visual experience. The sculpture will need very little maintenance and has an anticipated lifespan of 50 years. The recommendation is to recommend that the SNI staff proceed with a public art agreement according to the policies and procedures of their office. And I will take questions.
Are there any questions? Oh, I'm sorry, Commissioner Smalling.
So question on this, with the upkeep, traveling this road quite a bit every day, some of these objects there and some of the artworks that we have there, trash bags and other things get caught on them really easy. Who will be in charge of coming by and just making sure that it's
It'll be city crews that are going by and making sure, but you've also got a strong leadership in that neighborhood, and I think that they take pride in all of these sculptures, and if they saw something immediately,
Okay.
it's not their job to do, but I think that as good citizens, they would take care of any
Thank you.
trash that's blowing onto that.
Thank you.
Any other questions? Okay, do you want me to call them? Oops, okay. The motion would be to, let me find it here, recommend Strong Neighborhoods Initiative staff proceed with a public art agreement according to the policies and procedures of their office. Could I get a motion and a second, please?
Not responding.
All the computers have been replaced, so it could be technology.
Now it disappeared.
Disappeared. It says it's waiting for an active motion.
There we go. And on this,
Yes. Second.
should we do it verbally? Okay. All in favor? Aye.
Hold on just a second.
Second. I seconded. DG moved. Cooper seconded.
Do we need a verbal?
Aye.
Okay. I can tell you the motion passed from the show of hands. Okay, now,
And are you going to handle the next one as well, right?
Yes.
3B Cipher by Scott Henderson.
okay. There we go. Okay, so this one is, the work is titled Cipher by artist Scott Henderson. It was selected to go in the Linwood median near North Indiana Avenue. The sculpture is 10 feet tall with a 4 by 4 foot base that's elevated about 4 inches above the ground to create a floating effect. Mirrored stainless panels on select faces create fragmented reflections, blending the sculpture into its environment. The remaining surfaces are covered in a vivid blue and purple mirrored chrome, which shifts in color with movement and changing light. Let's see if I've got another screen. The artist is local, and he says that he will continue to make periodic inspections of the work, but if maintenance is needed, it's not expected to be over $400 annually, but probably most of the time, most years, it wouldn't need any maintenance. The recommendation is to recommend that the SNI staff proceed with the public art agreement according to the policies and procedures of their office. I'll take questions.
Are there any questions? Commissioner
Yes, Commissioner
Cooper?
Cooper.
I guess I'd like to know whether or not the mirrored surface is oriented in such a way that either the rising or setting sun is going to reflect off of it and bounce into the faces of oncoming traffic.
That is a very good question, and he does give the, let me go back, actually, I think I wrote it in here. Okay, so the mirrored stainless steel panels are going to be on the east and west at the base.
Well,
I got to think that through.
that sounds lined up with the rising and setting sun, which means that that reflection has the potential to reflect back into motorists' faces.
Well, let me do this.
Let me put it this way.
Yeah.
As it is determined which way to orient the piece, that specifically be taken into consideration, because it's hard enough to drive into the rising or setting sun, which has become awfully intense, and it can be blinding, so that there not be a mirrored surface that accentuates that problem.
Okay. I think that was very good, and I think that we can make that a condition of the recommendation that it be oriented so that the mirrored surfaces are not east and west.
Okay, we have a motion from Commissioner Smalling. Does somebody want a second?
I'll second.
Okay,
But I have a question.
yes, I'm sorry.
Is the neighborhood association also responsible for the care and maintenance? When I say care, the
Yes.
being the surface that it has, it could scratch, it could, there are a number of things that could happen to it in terms of.
So the maintenance of that will be through SNI, and if we have maintenance funds available, we can contribute to that.
Okay, okay.
Okay. Again, the computer seems to be working on this one.
Yeah,
Nope, it's not working on mine.
were you able to vote?
Yay.
Look at computer, press the computer button. Make sure.
Yeah. Oh, I didn't toggle back to that. Thank
There you
you.
go. All right. Then the motion passes. Okay, next we have item 3C, and Leandre is going to present for us the Windy by Olga Zameska.
Good afternoon, Commissioners. My name is Leandre Lattimore. I'm Project Manager for Arts and Cultural Affairs. As mentioned, the next item we'll be discussing is for the Animal Welfare Center. So this sculpture has a working title of Windy by artist Olga Zameska. She's based out of Cleveland, Ohio. And as mentioned before, this is going to go at the Animal Welfare Center. So here's a map of it. For those who don't know, the new facility is actually going to be on the same campus as the current Animal Welfare Center. So if you look to the top right of the screen, you'll see a yellow box. This was our sort of best approximation of where the actual sculpture would be, and the new building would be in that proximity as well. So here is an image of the work. As I mentioned before, it has a working title of Windy, the sculpture. So the first thing I will mention is that the artist would like to do a collaborative effort in terms of naming the sculpture. So when the work is complete, the artist would like to do some sort of public engagement event to get feedback from Oklahoma City residents to help name the sculpture. And one of the unique things about this sculpture, of course, as you can see, it's large in size, but it's going to be very well integrated with the natural elements. So this sculpture stands at 18 feet tall, 22 feet in length, and also 10 feet in terms of the width. here are some other images of the sculpture as it will sit directly in front of the new animal welfare facility.
It's really cute.
So to talk a little bit about the materials, so the sculpture would be fabricated from faux bois glass fiber reinforced concrete. So as you can see there, this will be fabricated in a way to resemble the natural surface and material of a tree, actually. So that was the artist's intention, is that the longer this sculpture sits in this location, the more it will be integrated with the natural elements that surrounds it. And over time, it will also have a natural patina that will allow it to be enhanced in that way as well. So this art award will be $310,000, and as mentioned before, it will require little to no maintenance due to the nature of the materials and the artist's intention here. And as mentioned before, when this is complete, the artist would definitely like to do a public engagement event to help name the sculpture. So Wendy is just a temporary title until we get to that point. Let's see. With that being said, I am happy to answer any questions from Arts Commission. Otherwise, I would ask that you all recommend this for approval.
Commissioner Cooper?
My traditional question is whether or not this is a climbable sculpture. It's definitely going to attract attention from adults and children.
Absolutely. That's a great question, Commissioner. So we actually talked with the artist about this during their actual presentation. So one of the things the artist plans to do is to create or to prohibit, or I would say deter the climbing in certain areas such as the feet. So the artist will not allow, so as you can see there are some places where it looks like someone can grab. The artist will eliminate those in the areas that are close to the base, and she'll also eliminate that underneath the belly of the dog as well. That way it may not be completely impossible, but it would be much more difficult for someone to attempt to climb this.
Okay, so the artist is actually going to take measures to make it less interesting as a climbable piece.
Yes, that's correct.
Thank you.
Are there any other
Sorry, I forgot
questions?
to show one more image. Sorry, so this is actually going to be a lit sculpture as well. So this is a rendering of it at nighttime. Sorry, I forgot to show you all that.
That's cool. Are there any other questions? Okay, it's the recommending it to the city council for approval is the motion, and it's been moved and seconded, so if you want to go ahead and vote, please. And the motion passes. Next, we have item 3D, Focused Force by Stan Carroll. And Leandre, you're going to present that as well?
Yes. So as mentioned, this item is called Focus Force by artist Stan Carroll, who's actually a local artist. You all may be familiar with some of his work. So this is going to be at the new Fire Station 31, which if you look at this image here, you can see at the bottom of the screen, it has that location that shows Oklahoma City Fire Station. So that's where it currently sits. And where you see the indicator at the top, the pin there, the red one, that actually shows where the new Fire Station 31 is going to be. So it's actually just a few paces down there on the street. So the artist was heavily inspired by the design and the history of the fire hose nozzle. So throughout time, there's been lots of evolution in terms of the design and the functionality of the fire hose. And the artist was heavily inspired by the classic design of the fire hose and actually used that as the basis of his proposal. So this is what the work will look like. So this will be a 12-foot tall sculpture that will stand directly in front of the new Fire Station 31. It'll be made from stainless steel, painted steel, and debossed concrete, as you can see there at the bottom. So as you can see, of course, this resembles the classic fire hose design, and the intricate pattern you see there is actually custom made by the artist himself. So this work will be done with an art award of $54,500. And as far as maintenance is concerned, the artist predicts little to no maintenance, just a yearly rinsing off with the hose, no pun intended here, but he said that should do just fine in terms of the maintenance. So the artist has designed this to stand the test of time and also to be a great joy for the people at Fire Station 31.
Do we have any?
One last thing I forgot to mention, so at the base of the sculpture, it will have so the quotes you see there were there just as a placeholder. So the words that will actually be there will be dedication, service, integrity, professionalism, commitment, and excellence. And this is drawn from the value statement of the Oklahoma City Fire Department. So, And I'm happy to answer any questions with that being said.
You have any questions? Okay, the motion we would make is to recommend this to the city council for approval. And we have a motion and a second, so if everybody wants to vote.
Thank you.
I think it passed. It went away too fast. Okay, now we have item 3E, When the Earth Remembers by Addison Carl, and Randy will present for us.
Good afternoon, Commissioners. I'm Randy Marks, the Program Planner in Arts and Cultural Affairs. Thank you for being here this afternoon. When the Earth Remembers by Addison Carl is Phase 2 of what we have been talking about for a few years now as a 3-phase project. Phase number 1, in December of 2022, the Commission received a report from 2 knowledge keepers, Anita Fields and Yadika Starfields, on the indigenous response to the Land Run Monument. This was a scholarly study of the broad range of responses of the indigenous community to the Land Run Monument. And that was phase number 1. This all started about a year and a half before the report was given, when Robbie Kinzel met with Jane Abraham in the city manager's office, and also with members of the Spirit Group, one of whom is here today, Brenda Golden, who will probably ask to speak in a little bit. You don't have to, but if you want to, you can. So that started the process. The mayor recommended that the Spirit Group meet with Robbie and with Jane and talk about the various comments that were coming up about the Land Run Monument, particularly at that time. This started the process that led to a study that was funded by a small grant from the Oklahoma Humanities, leading to the report that came to the committee to the commission in 22. That was phase 1. Phase 2 is intended to be the first mark on the ground, let's say, of a comprehensive cultural monument that will take place over, we don't know how long, over the next decade. It's going to take some time in planning, and it's going to take a lot of money. But the land has already been designated by Parks Department immediately adjacent to the Land Run Monument in Centennial Park, approximately 1.5 acres that will be conceptually developed by the city of Oklahoma City in partnership with the indigenous community. That's phase 3, a very big thing that will take multiple years to see that come to fruition. Phase number 2 was intended to be located. Let me give you some context here. So here you see aerial view of the Land Run Monument. And entering from the parking lot, you see where it says Riverwalk Parking. Entering from that, the main entrance, if you go off to the right, not directly into the monument itself, off to the right, which is to the north, there's a plaza there that has a kiosk right in the middle of it. And the intention was for this work to be situated on or adjacent to that plaza. Right before we had the site tour, we found out that the 2028 Olympics that are coming to Oklahoma City, at least in 2 events, are actually going to impinge on this site to some extent. I know this is a long story. it's a long road, but to what eventually is a very big house, to turn that phrase on its head. Thousands of people are going to be walking through this area on a daily basis during the 17 days of the Olympic events as they walk from the Bricktown area, the hotels there, to the Riversport area where the event will actually be held, because all of that area at Riversport is only going to be accessible to the athletes, officials, the Paralympic athletes, and a few others. Everybody else is going to be walking a mile or two to get there, and the main thoroughfare is going to be right through this area. So the Olympics has a list of requirements approximately this long about, in fine print, about what can and can't be done. And this walkway has to have rest stations, shade stations, water stations, and then other attractions. Okay, we'll just leave it at that. So this plaza has turned out to be not the ideal location for this particular sculpture that we're going to eventually talk about here in just a minute. So there was that. We relayed this information to the artists, and then they responded to the various possibilities, knowing that whatever they proposed may actually go in a slightly different location than what was originally envisioned. So with all of that background, I'm going to talk more specifically about the work that was presented to the selection committee and then was selected. When the Earth Remembers by Addison Carl. Addison has two tribal affiliations, both Chickasaw and Choctaw. He's not from Oklahoma, but he has longstanding ties to Oklahoma. He currently divides his time between Washington State and Murano, Italy. So Addison is Addison is a multidisciplinary artist, but primarily works in casting right now. And he's in Murano doing glass casting primarily, and he also did a lot of that in Washington State. Now, the proposal it's been an unusual story in some ways leading up to here. The proposal is a bit unusual too, because there are two variants of the proposal that together go under the name When the Earth Remembers. So this one just has a working title called The Allotment. And what you are seeing here is an inversion into the ground, an excavation into the ground of a Wichita tribe grass house. Fascinating architecture that was here for thousands of years, scattered in this area, thousands of years before 1889. The Wichitas were here, the Kiowas were here, and a few others were here. Those are tribes that are indigenous to the area. The land was allotted to the Chickasaws at the time of the Trail of Tears. It was taken away from them in the aftermath of the Civil War. And central Oklahoma became called the unassigned lands, which gives the idea that there wasn't anybody here. Completely not true. This was the home of several tribes that had been here for thousands of years again, plus other tribal members that had moved in. But the Wichitas were one of those, and Addison chose as an image the Wichita grass house, but inverted to talk about how the whole concept of home for the people who had lived here was inverted by the land run. Let's talk about the land run for just a minute. This is the founding story of Oklahoma City. One day, there was not a city here. The next day, there was a city of 10,000 people here. This is a remarkable story, no matter how you tell it. This is a remarkable event, and it's important to understand that this is important to the life of the city of Oklahoma City. And we want to give the proper honor to that, but we want to also give proper honor to the story that was here before the land run took place. The story of hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of generations of human beings who had complex cultures that were here for a long, long time before the events of April of 1889. So Oklahoma, I'm going off script here a little bit, as you can tell. Oklahoma has always had somewhat of a, almost, I would, not schizophrenic, I don't want to put it in that way, no, nothing pejorative about it, but we're simultaneously proud of the Indian heritage here, but at the same time, the indigenous people have all too often been treated as second-class citizens while we're proud and we celebrate that. The National Endowment for the Arts had a convening in Oklahoma City a few months ago. The 56 component executives of the 56 different state and regional and territorial humanities organizations were all hosted by Oklahoma Humanities. The opening events were at the First Americans Museum. And what the assembled people were treated to was Native American fancy dancing and drumming. And I looked around at everybody, they were gobsmacked. They couldn't believe that what they were seeing. This is our daily life in Oklahoma. The 39 official tribes that are here and their heritage, those nations with their own languages and their own cultures, this is our daily reality. People from around the country, they couldn't believe it. Plus, eating native inspired cuisine prepared by FAM. Okay. So there's all of that. We have that history, we have that heritage, and it seems right as a city for us to acknowledge both stories. This is a positive thing to be able to acknowledge both stories. Nobody's perfect. We know that. We're all humans. But let's band together to move into the future. To me, that's what this is about. So this was one of Addison's designs. And this is the other one. So this one is When the Earth Remembers, a Spiral of Memory. In this particular case, the skull, the bison skulls would be cast out of bronze, and the bones would be cast out of cast concrete. And then this would act as somewhat of a maze. Okay, now, we have $50,000 for the art award. This work can probably be accomplished for $50,000. The other work, the allotment, would cost far in excess of $50,000. What we are coming to you today to ask is not just a straight up, very, very clear representation of a work that would be done for X amount of money, as you saw in all of the other items that came before you today. This one is going to take some time to develop the design. First of all, to settle on one particular design, and then to develop that design. So we're asking you today to approve the artist and the idea of the design so that the artist can be under contract and can be paid for work that he does, paid for work that he does in further developing the design. We anticipate that even this one that could be done for $50,000 may be enhanced by other grants, by private funding, and the artist is willing to work with the selection committee and with the Office of Arts and Cultural Affairs to see what can be done for further funding. So this is going to evolve just a little bit. The step that you take today to either recommend this to council for a public art commission agreement or to not make a recommendation is just the first step in what is itself going to be a multi-stage process. It may turn out, I don't know this, it may turn out that this is in a location that more directly kicks off phase 3. It's entirely possible. We don't know yet. We're in a little bit uncharted territory. So with that, I've talked long enough, and I want to hear what you have to say.
Commissioner Cooper.
I have a couple of questions. On the second piece, the When the Earth Remembers, what would be the projected dimensions of that piece? And the other question is, are we being asked to provide a form of compensation to an artist to actually develop a project without really knowing if that project is going to be adopted, which is a different process than we've had, but we don't normally pay for someone to develop a concept that doesn't result in an actual concrete piece of work.
We have every confidence that one of the two will be done. There's no doubt in my mind that that will happen. And the process isn't quite as different from the normal process of what it appears to be on the surface, because what actually happens is that when we get the recommendation and it goes to the city council, and even after contract, there still is design, there can be design change that takes place. Now, if there ever is such a great design change that changes it so much that we need to come back to the commission, we come back to the commission for further guidance. And that's exactly what we would do here.
So
We're not asking you to write a blank check. We're saying, we need to move forward, and the artist needs to be able to be compensated for further work while this total concept is being developed.
on this particular piece, When the Earth Remembers, that's the one that we're talking about.
Well, they're both called When the Earth Remembers, with two variations on it. This one is the Bison Spiral, and the other one is called Allotment.
Oh, okay. Maybe I didn't understand. It sounded like
I may have been unclear about
the
that.
budget that was involved was more doable on this one and probably not so doable on the other one, barring the receiving or solicitation of additional fundraising.
So this would be a likely scenario, I think. If we determine rather quickly that the wisest course forward would be to just continue with the one that we know that we have fully funded, we would continue on that path.
And that gets me back to the first question. What are the dimensions of this piece?
This is approximately 10 feet in diameter.
Okay.
And each of the bones is 1 to 2 feet in length.
Will it have a form that is sort of like not a maze, but a labyrinth, so that you can actually, will it be like a path that you can walk through the design to get to the center and then walk back out, like a place for reflection?
Right, it is walkable.
Thank you.
Do we have any other yes, Commissioner Spalding.
I'd like to speak to some of the questions there. One of the reasons why we wanted to have the two brought to us here is if you can go back to the one just before this, the allotment. This particular piece, this particular design evoked tremendous feelings amongst the indigenous listeners and those who were participants. It was, and it is, a singular kind of design that none of us have ever encountered to express what happens when you are removed from your home, the void. And this in itself, we know is going to cost more, but it's something where we are going to be able to raise funds quite easily for this one. It is a very unique design. And to have that negative sort of imprint of the lack of home and have that home from the inside there. This is interesting to all Oklahomans because no one immigrated here because they wanted to be here. Whether you're indigenous or whether you're non-indigenous, people migrate from homes out of duress. And there's a void there. And some people know where they're from. Some people, because of the migration, the forced migration, don't know where they're from, and there's a void. The potency of this design is why we wanted it there. The second one, the spiral, can easily be incorporated around it or with it. This has a unique feature in that it is going to resonate not just with the question and query of Indigenous people, but to spark how do I feel about where I'm from. And I think that's the potency of this piece. And the competency of the artist is not really in question. This is a very competent artist at this scale. So any other questions? You know, and
And I didn't notice the size on this piece.
I'm sorry, I didn't understand that.
I didn't find information on the size of this piece on the material.
So I don't have anything set on a set size on this yet. So this one is far more conceptual. And what happened was, Addison said that this was his initial idea. And he realized pretty quickly that it was going to escalate way out of cost. And so he didn't put all the fine details in it.
Okay.
But he wanted to present it anyway, just to let the committee know his pattern of thought that led him where he was led. The committee responded, as Commissioner Smalling just said, very, very positively to the power of this work.
Yes, I'm sorry.
Randy, I assume that once a final decision has been made on this, both a location and kind of the piece and the placement of the piece in that location, that could come back to Arts Commission as a FYI, as conclusion to this, if we were to do an open-ended approval on concept and artist today without the other details in place.
Would you repeat that last part?
So if we were to approve based on concept and artist today, that we could kind of like hear the final location and placement at a point in the future when that's been decided.
Yes. Yes, and I'll add to that, Commissioner Bailey, that we will be working very, very closely with the Parks Department on this. This is, according to the way we look at things at the city, Parks Department owns this land from a city standpoint, right? So anything that we do, we work very, very closely with them so that it fits into their master plan. And they always have one.
Any other questions? I'm sorry.
So-
Commissioner Eichmann?
Yeah, so the Parks Department are they comfortable with the idea that we would make a recommendation going into this, knowing that 50,000 isn't adequate to be able to do the entire project?
Is the Parks Department
Yeah, I mean,
confident that?
I'm trying to figure out, if we're comfortable approving it, is the recipient with the understanding that all the money is not in place for this yet? Are they comfortable? And I'm assuming it's the Parks Department, since it's Parks Department land.
So the money was actually provided through a special fund through the city manager's office.
Okay.
So it's not Parks money per se. It's ours to administer, but it belongs to the people of Oklahoma City.
So is that entity comfortable knowing that all the money is not raised yet?
Well,
And I think it's a wonderful project. That's not it. When we make the recommendation, are we making it, most recommendations we make are fully funded. So this would be the first time that we're making a recommendation that we know that the entire concept is not funded. So when we spend the 50,000, where do we end up? What do we have for it at the end of that 50,000? Because I think they would ask that question.
okay. Again, this is how I'm imagining this is going to, the step-by-step how this is going to play out. And I invite Rita to correct me if she feels like I'm making a misstep at any step of the way. We would very, very quickly have further conversations with the artist and with the selection committee and those who have expressed an interest in helping to raise funds. And we would assess that very, very quickly. If that makes sense to proceed with the allotment with this particular design, then that $50,000, the $50,000 would go to whatever the final budget of this is. If we figured that, if it was decided again, pretty rapidly, that it does not make sense to do this one at this time, but it does make sense to do the other one, the 50,000 would lead to the completion of the Bison Spiral, and that would be the completed work. Now, some of this is speculation because we're all in a little bit new territory here, but that's how I see it playing out.
Commissioner Cooper?
Excuse me. I have a question going back to the location. I understand what you said about the original proposed location not working out very well because of the increased foot traffic that will be associated with the coming Olympics. However, and this is just my understanding, and I could be definitely wrong, but part of the importance of this part is to have it in proximity to the Land Run Monument to tell both sides of this story, this event that's incredibly meaningful in different ways to the different populations and to the indigenous people, and to respectfully represent their point of view on what happened, and that's part of what this installation is supposed to do. So it's important that it be in proximity. So is the plan to find another location around there, or is it to push the project out in the future when this temporary delay because of the foot traffic from the Olympics is, and because it's a work in process, in development, is it to push it out far enough in time to get that thing passed and then put it in a place that is a good location as compared to in proximity to the Land Run Monument?
The intention and the desire is to complete it as quickly as possible and have it completed well before the Olympics come here, because that is an unparalleled opportunity that won't come again when we have an extra tens of thousands of people in Oklahoma City every day, and a lot of them just happening to walk through this area. And so the intention is to have it complete and be, let's say, on the path or very clearly marked that this is here. Look at this in addition to this. So we don't know exactly what that location would be, but it will definitely be in proximity to the Land Run Monument.
Okay, so they're not saying we can't use any of that land over there.
Oh, no,
They're
no,
just saying,
no. It's strictly that plaza. That plaza
plaza.
is probably going to be filled up with tents and booths and then a walkway down through the center of it.
okay, so it'll still be in that area?
Oh, yeah.
Okay,
Most definitely.
thank you.
Are there any other questions? And Randy, is that why your recommended motion is for an initial cost of $50,000? So
Precisely.
we're not reining ourselves in by putting that word initial in.
Right. So this is initial, and it may be the final, following up on Commissioner Eichmann's question. It may be the final amount, too, which we will assess rapidly. And whatever the things that we do, we will report back to you as well.
Okay. So the motion is to recommend to the city council approval of.
Excuse me, Commissioner. Could we see if
Sure.
if somebody from the audience happens to want to say anything?
Now, does anybody else have anything?
Okay,
Okay.
thank you.
Do you-
Excuse me.
Okay. So it's recommended to City Council approval of a public art commissioned agreement with Addison Carl with an initial cost of $50,000. So,
Was there anything additional that needed to be added, Commissioner Bates?
I couldn't hear what she said. Oh, gotcha. It doesn't, it's not allowing me to move or second, so. So somebody's already moved and second. Oh, I see. Gotcha. Okay, the motion passed. The next, there are no items for the consent docket, so the next item would be the Commission Advocate Report. Commissioner Ontiveros?
Hello? Yes, thank you, Commissioner. My report is, first of all, a recap of last week's happenings. Last week, Oklahoma Contemporary hosted its annual Founders Day celebration, honoring individuals who significantly contributed to the arts community. And this year's honorees include Amy Harlow, Hawk E. A. V. Edgar, Claire Holloway, and our very own Liz Eichmann. Congratulations, Liz. Upcoming art events in Oklahoma City, well, of course, we all know Festival of the Arts is this week, starting on April 24th through 27th. It's going to be downtown Oklahoma City. This year, we'll be featuring over 100 artists, live performances, and a diverse culinary offerings. This festival is a hallmark of Oklahoma's cultural scene. I'll see you guys there. The next arts festival is the Paseo Arts Festival. That's going to be May 24th through the 26th at the Paseo Arts District, showcasing works from over 90 artists, live music, local food vendors, and this is a free event in a Memorial Day weekend tradition. Some of the ongoing exhibitions is over at the Oklahoma City Museum of Art, Adele, I'm going to butcher this name, Chalui? Oh, did I say it right? The Oklahoma Collection, an ongoing exhibition showcasing the renowned glass artist's work. Also, at the Oklahoma City Museum of Art, From the Vault, the 80th anniversary exhibition running through April 27th, 2025. This exhibit highlights pieces from the museum's extensive collection. And finally, Oklahoma Contemporary has a Pride Prom scheduled for, oh, that was already last weekend, sorry, April 18th. And this event celebrates the LGBTQ community with art-making activities, music, and more. Commissioner, that is my report.
Thank you. Randy, do you have an Arts and Cultural Affairs update for us?
Yes, I do. Thank you. I'm going to give you a partial list of some things that are going on. First of all, I want to call your attention to the brand new mural and what's called the Arena Plaza. So extending out from the south side of Paycom Arena, just in time for the historic win of the Thunder the other night. The artist V. Nice, Giovanni, that last name, moved his schedule up to be sure that he was able to get this mural done. It's really, really a beautiful work. Hopefully when all of the, when the networks are here shooting footage, they'll give prominent attention to that particular work. Not a huge work, not our biggest one by any means, but a really, really fine work of art. And we're happy that it was done in time for the playoffs. We have another 3 or 4 projects that will be completed in the next few months. I'm not going to list those right now for fear that I may curse something, but they are scheduled to be completed relatively soon. That's out of 27 projects that we have going on right now. But here's what's coming up. So the MAPS 4 projects are really kicking into high gear. And in addition to the ones that have been stalled for a long, long time, Family Justice, finally, problems that have stalled this project for well over a year, not the art project, the construction project, have been resolved, and that one is on the move again. We're very happy to say. Diversion Hub is well underway. The artists are already working on the works that will not be installed until 2027, when the building is complete. So a lot of things going on, 27 different projects of different sorts. And here's what we have coming up, all MAPS projects. The mental health facility, restoration center, the foster recreation center, a new youth center. It looks like they're going to do 2 of the 4. They're going to start off with 2 of the 4 that are planned. A new senior health and wellness center addressing more of the center part of the city. We don't know exactly where that is, where the others have been a little bit moved, remote from the center of Oklahoma City. So this one is going to be kind of right in the heart of the city. The pedestrian bridge that connects Akana up to the north side of the river, that's under construction, but we've just gotten the okay to move ahead on the art part of that particular project. So that pedestrian bridge, the multi-purpose stadium, which will be home of the professional soccer team, along with a major development taking place around it, and Union Station, which has been stalled for a long time. So that one is planned to start up soon. Now, all of those we could start those within the next 3 to 4 months. With every one of these, there is a selection committee. And by the recommendation of the Arts Commission, every selection committee has an arts commissioner on that. And that is a very, very good recommendation, and it's one that we want to keep up. So sometime in the next few weeks, you're likely to receive a poll from either Robbie Jones or Leandre Lattimore or me saying, do you feel particularly drawn to one of these, and would you like to serve on that particular selection committee? So when you get that, please give every consideration to that. This is potentially, on the selection committees, it's potentially where the arts commissioners can make a larger impact than anything else that the commission does. You do a lot of things, you've given a lot of guidance down through the years that has been extremely important to the development of the art program and the ongoing maintenance of the arts program. But on a day-to-day basis, you get to have each one of you gets to have a very clear voice on selecting the public art. And we look forward to you participating in that. So that is my report on the office for right now. We have some other exciting news. I'm just going to tease you with it. Can't tell you what it is, but some other very exciting news. You'll hear more about it at the next Arts Commission meeting. Be here.
All right,
Thank you.
well-
And one last thing. Thank you. I know some of you made extraordinary effort to be here. We barely made quorum. Thank you so much. It was important to get all 5 of these moved forward. Appreciate that. And appreciate your ongoing commitment to the Arts Commission and to the people of Oklahoma City. Thank you very much.
Well, thank you, Randy. Are there any more comments from any of the commission members? No? Is there any public comments? No? All right. Then we are adjourned. Our next meeting is May 19th at 4 p.m.